All right, so today we have a 2005 Subaru Legacy. This customer is wanting the AC to work again. It's been many years since this AC has worked. So we're not even really going to shoot it and look for a leak or anything. We're just going to go ahead and freshen up some components. We're going to be doing the compressor, and we're going to be doing the condenser, and then the receiver dryer. We may be doing the orifice too, or this is an expansion valve on this vehicle. I don't know how far that protrudes into the firewall or what. Once we open the lines and we can see the condition of the oil, we'll kind of make a judgment there. So we're going to go ahead and start getting some of this stuff out of our way. We have some air and ducting we need to get rid of. Some bolts here are pretty rusty. We want to try to put a wrench on this to see how this job's going to go. Same here. I mean, the rust on this car is so much that the size of the bolt is questionable. So we're going to go ahead and see what kind of trouble we can get in. All right, so these are some little pop locks. They're probably not working, but the idea will be to hold the base, well, unscrewing it and come out. Like I said, they're go ahead and move some of that. And so we have some radiator hold downs here. All right, so that's one broken bolt we're going to have to get out. And this right here, this is for the hood prop hold down, so it is something we're going to have to put in. Hopefully, what we'll be able to do is just drill it out, and we're going to have to just basically nut and bolt it in there. What I think we're going to do here, just because everything's so brittle, we don't want to kind of push and move stuff out of the way. We're going to remove things. This clamp, you know, we can't let this leave like this. This is pretty bad. I mean, we'd hate to have that come loose, you know, just because we moved it and we compromised it. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to drain the coolant system. We're going to remove these clamps here so we can pull the radiator completely out of the car. This radiator does have a petcock. But we have to remove some more shieldings, and I'm not really looking to break too many bolts on this car. So we're gonna try to not mess with the petcock. We're gonna try to do this as cleanly as possible. We're gonna remove this clamp right here. This is the lower radiator hose, and we're gonna try to you know, keep it pretty contained and drain it that way. We're going to try to not be so messy here. Right here we have the lines that go to the transmission cooler. This goes back to the transmission, so we have one line here and one line here we need to remove. Now to remove the radiator, we want to go ahead and we want to remove the upper radiator hose. We're going to do it at the engine also. So we give it a little twist. See, that one's, see, if we pull, we're not going to come off. So we want to just twist it to break the seal. So we just And then now we'll be able to walk it off easy. Okay. All right, so now we have an electrical connector for the fan going to the wiring harness, one on each side. So we'll go ahead and, I believe we just lift the tab on this one. Yep. All right, so we got the same on the other side. Ready? All right, so now we have our training lines plugged up. Those were nothing fancy. Those were just some tips to the end of a cocking gun that I did not use the tip. All right, so now we should be able to lift our radiator out. We have some bolts inward. We're gonna have to remove this little grill here. So we got just 2 of these. Some 10mm bolts there. Got a couple little clips. And that removes the grill. All right, so now that we have the backside of our condenser exposed, now this bracket right here comes with the new condenser. So we have a bolt here and a bolt here we need to remove. That's the top mounts. All right, so now we have our condenser loose. So we have one line that's flexed. That's not a problem. We have one solid line. That would be this line right here. So we'll go ahead and remove this bolt. Pop that off. Maybe. Alright, so we have one more bolt off to the side here. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to remove some covers here. We want to get to the compressor. So we have 2 10mm holding this cover on. All right, so there we have the compressor. What we're going to do is we're going to loosen the belt. So how we're going to do that is, it looks like we're going to take this cover off also. So we loosen this bolt here, and then this rod right here, this threaded bolt, is going to bring the tensioner up as we tighten it up. So we'll go ahead and remove this bracket also. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and loosen this pulley up right here. All right. All right, what we want to do is we want to tighten this bolt, and it'll draw the pulley up. Maybe. Take that back, it's reverse threads. We want to loosen it up. That's a reverse threaded bolt. Okay. And so now we want to take the compressor off. A couple little clamps on there. Some connectors. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to take this bracket off right here. All right, so this right here was, with a screwdriver, there's a little tab. Let me get that out of the way. All right, so we have one bolt here, there's 12. The compressor has 2 more mounting bolts to the body, and then 1 bolt off of that that goes down to another bracket. So we're going to do that one. It's a 14 millimeter. Okay. All right, so what were we doing there? So we were doing this bolt right here. So these bolts, they held the body in. But then there was this other bracket right there. So that's what we were fishing out, is that back bolt. So doable. The other way, I guess, would be to remove some more brackets this way, but that's doable there. No, I'm not getting any kind of oil out of it. All right, so this screw is a little hard. We're just going to try to give it a little shock. Oh, no. All right, so that's not coming. We'll try some mini channel locks. All right, so we were fighting with this bolt. I ended up breaking the screw there. We were trying to get this bracket off. So we'll go ahead and take that off the coil. All right. So I just found another little screw there to Normally there's a sticker over top of it somewhere that says there has been oil added. No sticker here. It is a Denso. I believe there's just the oil for the break-in. We'll go ahead and see if we can pour any out. Well, I'm sure this system takes more than what we poured out. That's not much at all. So we kind of confirm that the system here is, because it's a Denso, there's no sticker over top of it. You know, there's no oil in it. So that rule still applies there. All right, so we'll go ahead and reinstall this back into the car. Set the compressor back down. All right, so we're going to go ahead and hang that top bolt. Kind of take the weight off the compressor, and we can work on getting these bottom ones in. We'll get our wire laid back out. So you want to play with the belt deflection. So the longest spot would be this run. So you don't want to stretch the belt, but you want to just keep it within, say, a half inch movement up and down. Stretched will just wear the belt out faster. All right, so we'll go ahead and put our condenser back in. We already took care of our bolt that we broke for the hood prop. We just drilled it out. We'll end up just putting a nut and bolt. Hopefully it won't be too hard to get that accomplished. All right, so here we have our condenser we got from Auto Parts Direct to You. So these rusty mounts and bushings, it's going to come with some new ones. We want to make sure that this bushing didn't stay in the car because our new one came supplied with it, and we don't want to double up on that because it won't fit right. So everything looks good. It's got, you know, your receiver, your dryer right here on the side of the condenser. So we'll go ahead and we'll put this back in. The only other thing we'll have to do is we got a couple line attachments here. We'll take these off. We try not to open the system up too much. Any kind of moisture that gets in will be absorbed right into the sock here for the dryer. So we don't want to give too much time to be exposed there. So we'll kind of wait till we get half in the car. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and set this back down into the mount. Let it lean back a little bit. We'll go ahead and do some lines. So we have one line down here with the O-ring. We're gonna be matching that one up. We'll go down in there. There's a lot of corrosion. Go ahead and wipe that up. All right, so here we have our O-rings supplied by Auto Parts Direct to You with the AC kit. So we'll go ahead and match up. Now this is going to be all the O-rings for this vehicle, so got quite a few here. All right. All right, so we're going to be making that connection at the lower line there. We just want to lube our O-ring up just a tiny bit. And there, that was the, so the condenser was under a vacuum. So it just sucked in a bunch of the outside. That's what we're talking about, the moisture there. So we'll go ahead and mount this up as square as we can. All right, so we'll go ahead and make these connections on the sides here. Kind of keep the radiator in place. All right, so now we have the condenser securely mounted. Now we'll go back and we'll do, so we have this other line from the condenser up to the compressor. So we'll go ahead and we're going to replace the O-rings on this now. We're going to remove the other seal off the condenser to install that line. All right, so now we have all the connections made there. We'll go ahead and make our connections at the compressor. So we'll go ahead and match up those O-rings also. All right, so we got our compressor bolts ready. All right, so now we have the compressor all in. So what we're going to do is we're going to add oil to the system. Now this is a kind of a weird one on this car. The service manual kind of lists how many milliliters per component you replaced with a total system volume of 4.5. So the biggest volume of oil is held in the evaporator, which is not what we're doing. So that consumes almost 2 ounces right there. So we'll go ahead, we're going to add another 2 ounces or so, maybe a little bit more than 2. And that should cover our other 2 components and get us up to at least halfway there or more, depending on what we have there. So it is kind of a ballpark when it comes to this kind of stuff. So we'll just go ahead and remove one of these lines. We'll just pour it right in there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and reinstall our radiator. So what we want to do is we just want to make sure we set it down in the mounts. The little rubber mounts are down there. Okay. So we'll go ahead and put our top mounts on. All right, so we went ahead and remove the old clamp. We're going to put a new worm clamp on there. Same with the lower. Okay, so now we just have our 2 hoses for the transmission cooler on the bottom of the radiator. Our lower hose, we want to go ahead and connect back up our fan. So we had 2 connectors on each side. All right, so we'll go ahead and hook our tranny lines up. Pull our little plugs out. All right, so that's not a very good clamp. We're going to remove it and replace that clamp. It's a little long. I'm going to spin it around here. The worst thing I could do is keep it right here so it would vibrate and eventually wear a hole. So you just want to be mindful of that. Okay, so now we just want to make our lower radiator hose connection there. And we got a new clamp for that side too. All right, so now we're back working on the AC. We're going to go ahead and get everything all buttoned up so we can fill the radiator, start the vehicle up, and then go ahead and proceed and put it into a vacuum to evacuate the system. So we got a couple brackets that we need to put on. So we got one here and then another one here. So go ahead and all right, so now we're go ahead and put our grill and our hood prop. This is where we had a broken bolt earlier, so we've already drilled it out. We've already got the bolt, tapped the size, all that good stuff. So we'll go ahead and get the hood prop on, hood prop mount. Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and reinstall our grill. Got a couple clips we got to make underneath here. Maybe not. Doesn't look like that went underneath there. Oh. All right. Go ahead and put our all right, so we'll go ahead and we got our air ducting. There was some push pins here. I don't believe they were there when the car came in. I don't know if I have any of those. We'll have to hunt those down. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and top the coolant off so we can start the engine up. All right, so we're going to go ahead and top off the system. This is like a fill and a burper. So we got a couple pieces. You have to find the right ones that fit. So we got our attachment here. So basically we'll be able to pour fluid in, let it bubble out. Once we get to the adjusted height and it's warm, what we want to do, we can plug it and we can pull it off and put our cap on, and the system will be topped off. So we'll go ahead and we'll add some coolant now. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start adding some coolant. Now this is 50-50, already diluted, so we're not going to have to add water. So we'll go ahead and start adding some. Just kind of being aware if any leaks happen, we can address before we pour too much coolant in it. We shouldn't have any, but it's always something we should watch. Just kind of got the car running. Once the thermostat opens up, we'll see the fluid level drop. So kind of some of the things we're looking for right now is, one, we obviously don't want to see it leaking. The next one is the thermostat open, so it draws in more coolant, so we can go ahead and top it off. See, we got some air bubbles making our way up. The other one is we want to make sure once the temperature comes up that the fans come on. Okay, so while we're waiting on this, we're going to go ahead and hook the vacuum pump up. So we're going to have it, we got one connection point here. And the other one is over by the evaporator. So we're going to go ahead and hook our gauges up now. Okay, so we have our high pressure. It's going to be here by the compressor. The low side back here by the evaporator. All right, so we just want to keep on taking a little glimpse at our gauge. So we just started to move it. All right, so there we got our first fan kicked on. The other side's blowing too, so that was enough temperature there to kick the fans on. I think we're pretty good. We're gonna go ahead and shut this off now. Finish doing our evacuate and recharge. All right, so we warmed the vehicle up enough to turn the fans on. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna let the car sit for a little bit. We have it on, we're evacuating the system. We're basically pulling it down in a vacuum. It's 30 inches for about 30 minutes, and then we tighten up the gauge. We observe our vacuum lock. If we start to lose vacuum, then we know we have some leaky O-ring somewhere or something, and then charging it after that. So this right here, we're just kind of leave this. We have the vehicle at operating temperature, so it's cooling down, and it should adjust itself. So then we'll just have to do a slight top off once we charge it. But other than that, we're just waiting on the machine now. So that's about it on this one.